it just breaks your heart. But we're doing our best to put resolve to this. We've actually captured our suspect. He's in custody. And it was a long day. And we had, I'd like to give credit to the agencies that assisted us yesterday. Again, this all started at about 12:42 in the morning in the village of Summers in Kenosha County, Sunday morning. And without hesitation, we got a lot of resources sent our way. Kenosha Police Department sent us a lot of manpower. UW Parkside Police, the Racine Sheriff's Department, Racine Police Department, the Village of Mount Pleasant, Village of Caledonia, the Wisconsin State Patrol came in and mapped the scene with, we call it the Total Station and technology. And the Wisconsin Department of Justice, the DCI, they came and they processed the scene of evidence that we had there. And it was a rather large scene. It was inside a bar that's located on Sheridan Road. There was a lot of evidence they collected there, and outside there was evidence out there too. There were over 200 pieces of evidence that I was told yesterday, and they probably found more since. It started off a little bit before 12:42, and the first call came in that there was a scuffle between the three people that are now deceased and our suspect. Management kicked out the suspect out of the establishment. He went outside, came back in, and pulled a gun and shot the three people that he got in an altercation with. And then the call started coming in. Three other people were injured in this incident. And I've been told that we don't believe that these three people who were injured were actually intended to be shot. It just, it was part of what occurred as bullets were flying. The first two people that passed died inside the bar. The third one was shot in gunfire outside the bar, east of Sheridan Road, across the street. And that subject was fatally shot. Got into a car with other drivers, drove a few blocks, and the drivers of that flagged down law enforcement to help with this person that passed away at that time. Our suspect is, it isn't on this sheet. Our suspect's name is Rakayo A. Vinson, V-I-N-S-O-N. And if I remember right, he's about 24 years old. Our victims, which we're identifying, the medical examiner said that we can identify them. We're going to give you these names, so if you don't get them, it's a Cedric Gaston, 24 years old, resident of Kenosha. Atkeem Stevenson, 26 years old, resident of Kenosha. And a Kevin Donaldson, 22-year-old resident of Kenosha. The other people that were injured, a 26-year-old male from Kenosha, a 22-year-old male from Wonder Lake, and a 23-year-old male from Wonder Lake as well. Our suspect, of course, left the scene. Our detectives and the city police department and other agencies, we canvassed the area, and they're out. They pulled video from the Summers House Tavern, and they were also able to get video from other locations near the incident yesterday. And they're piecing all that together. As Sergeant Hanna said, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff you guys would like to know the answers to that I can't answer for you right now. But it's an ongoing investigation. It is Channel 9, I apologize for that. It's an ongoing investigation. Gonna do the best I can on that one. It's an ongoing investigation, and there are truthfully hundreds of people that have been involved since the very beginning of this. Thank you. Since the beginning of this, that started a day and a half ago. we're very thankful that we had people calling in names, and just in case you have any more information that you can give us, please don't think we have all the pieces. It's a huge puzzle, an absolutely huge puzzle, and we're trying to put all the pieces together so we can put our suspect away for the rest of his life. In case you have any information, you can call Crime Stoppers. Do it anonymously at 262-656-7333, or our non-emergency number here at the Sheriff's Department, 262-605-5100. But we're piecing all the information that we have, that we were given, and evidence has already been shipped to the crime lab. Some of the information we're already getting results back, trying to do our best to tie in our suspect into the homicides that occurred here. What questions can I answer for you guys real quick?
Sheriff, can you clarify, was there an exchange of gunfire outside the tavern before law enforcement arrived?
Yes. The suspect came inside the building, shot what is believed at this time, 2 of our suspects, killed them. One fell immediately, another one staggered outside into the parking lot. And the third victim, we believe, at least from what I'm being told, he may have exchanged gunfire with that suspect across the street where they found casings.
Can you tell us, the 3 victims, they were friends. They were there together, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So did the suspect, Vincent, have any prior, did he know them at all? Or was this totally, the only reason they were targeted was because of the confrontation?
It's a really good question, and to be honest, I can't even give you that answer. Even if I was told not to say it, I really don't even know that answer. I don't have all the pieces. And if you can just picture the dozens of people that are looking into this, some of the stuff I just don't know.
Sheriff, what are your thoughts? In the past couple of years, we've had a shooting in Twin Lakes. We've had a shooting that caused tragedy for our community with the Juga family, and now we have this. And it seems like the shooters are becoming younger and younger. What are your thoughts on this trend in our county?
When I started as a deputy sheriff in 1982, if we had one homicide every other year, that was huge. That was, I remember, gosh, it's got to be 25, 30 years ago, we had an ice cream place on Sheridan Road that one of the employees, a young employee, was shot there. And that crippled our city. Everyone talked about it. Everyone was up in arms. Everyone wanted that to be resolved quickly. And today, and I don't know all the reasons why. Today we can handle a shooting and we can brush it off. It doesn't, as sad as this is, a lot of people in Kenosha aren't even aware it went on probably. So things are different now than it was for me when I first started as a deputy. And we're not Mayberry anymore. Even not too long ago, I would describe our community as an island inside of Zion and Waukegan to our south, and Chicago and Milwaukee and even Racine to our north. And I thought we had a pretty good handle on, we have a great police department and gang unit and drug unit, and the schools are fantastic. And I thought we had a pretty good handle on trying to deal with issues that were out there that we could handle before they got bad. And it seems like we're becoming more of a like the northern suburb of Chicago. A lot of those problems are moving up here. A couple of years ago, we had a triple homicide, and the victims and also the suspects were all out of Joliet and Chicago. So a lot of the issues, they're coming to Kenosha, and it's not a trend I'm happy with.
Can you tell us
Can you tell us about the suspect's weapon in this case? What you do know about?
It's a handgun. The caliber, I can't share with you that at this moment, but the weapons that were used at the scene that night were handguns.
The suspect is listed as homeless. What else can you tell us about?
I really can't tell you much more other than his name. I don't know.
Was he living in Racine or was he living in Kenosha?
I don't know where he was living. He's living in the jail right now, and that's the best I can tell you right now.
Sheriff, to clarify, is there a search for other suspects at this time, or can you tell the public that this is the one suspect that you believe is the sole perpetrator of this
We are not ruling out that other people may have been a distant part of this. I feel pretty confident that we have our suspect that did the shooting. Could someone have given him a ride? That page hasn't been closed yet. We're still looking into that.
Is he expected to face charges for all 3 homicides and the 3 victims that survived the shooting?
I'm sure he'll have many more charges placed on him. To hold him in our custody, they had to come up with at least an initial charge. So that's why you'll see, I think he was charged with 1 homicide. I'm sure that he will face, as we piece all this together and we have the names now, and as we do all this, I'm sure he'll be facing many more charges.
Sheriff, can you tell us how and where the suspect was arrested?
He actually went up to Racine, and the specific details I don't have, but he went up there and he stole a car. I believe it was from people that he knew. And then I think they contacted an agency up in Racine. And then when this guy brought the stolen car back to the people he stole it from, and they called the Mount Pleasant Police Department and said, this guy is here, come and arrest him. He's the one that stole the car. So they went and picked him up. And when they identified him, they called down here by us and said, are you looking for a person that resembles this person? And we said, yes, we'd love to talk to him. And now we're piecing those pieces together.
Arrested in Mount Pleasant, you said?
Mount Pleasant, I believe, is where that we picked him up, or was picked up.
If you don't mind, if we could go back to the 3rd victim who was across the street.
Yep.
May have fired back, exchanged gunfire. Can you tell us which victim that was? Which was it? Cedric Gaston or Stevenson or Donaldson?
Yeah, I don't know that, which one was which. I know I remember someone saying he was tall, but that's the best I can answer for you right now.
And the suspect, Vincent, it looked like in his mugshot he had a black eye. The district attorney at his hearing just a short time ago said that this was literally over nothing, and that Vincent did get punched in the process. Can you talk a little bit more about the confrontation?
I don't know that much more. I just know that inside the 3 people that were involved, that are deceased, I believe that all of them, or most of them, played a role in the altercation. And I believe that Vincent had some facial injuries, I think, from that altercation. The extent of them, I don't know.
Sheriff, that you said yesterday in the press conference that the suspect knew the victim, but the victim did not know the suspect. Is that still true?
That's a really good question. Yesterday I knew that these people were targeted, so at the level that he knew these 3 people, it may just be that there was a confrontation in that location and he knew he was coming in for those 3 people. How long he knew them? I don't know. I can't tell you if he knew their names or anything like that at this moment. That's a really good question, but I don't have that answer for you either. But yesterday, what I wanted to convey, I guess, is he went in there for these 3 people. It wasn't a random act.
How long will that crime scene be taped off?
Until our district attorney says that we can clear the crime scene. We're going to hold it just in case we need to do any more investigation, if there's any more questions. It could be as early as today. It could be a few more days.
Family I spoke with Gaston say that they're not happy that one suspect is in custody because they believe there's another suspect out there that did the shooting. What would you say to them about that?
I'm going by what my staff and the hundreds of officers that were out there, and I'll go by what they tell me.
Any information about how Vincent left the scene?
No, that's a really good question too, and at this point, I don't have that answer. I don't know if that's where he was able to drive away or something, or someone picked him up. I don't have that answer for you right now, and I'm sure that'll come out.
Is that on video, you think?
I haven't heard that it's on video. I've not been briefed. The only thing I know is he was there, and he was up then in Racine basically stealing a car. How he got between the 2, I don't have that answer for you yet. I'd like to know that one too.
So he stole the car from Racine but was taken into custody in Mount Pleasant?
Mount Pleasant's in Racine,
Okay, gotcha.
Racine County.
Have you identified anybody else who may be looking for an accomplice of sorts?
Not yet. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sheriff.
You guys will get, if you haven't yet, you'll get the names and the spellings of all the people involved here.